Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is May 20th, 2024, and I will discuss with you today how much Barcelona are expected to make of La Liga's TV rights. Also, Joan Laporta has delayed his decision in regards to Xavi Hernandez. And finally, the board is currently split three ways on who should be Barcelona's next manager. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo and this is the Barca News podcast, which are on every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today I'm starting a little bit later because I finished work late. I do apologize about that. But nonetheless, here I am ready to share all Barcelona news with you and of course interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments out loud, answering your questions, and getting a discussion going. Now, for those of you who will be watching the podcast once it ends, don't worry, I will be putting timestamps in the description, chapters in the timeline, in case you do want to skip through the discussion. Having said all that, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. All of this helps the channel continue to grow. Now, let's begin with the news because today's podcast is loaded with lots of juicy news. But let's begin with good news because lately there's been a lot of horrible news everywhere. So let's start with good news. Actually, two bits of good news. They both were a little bit short, but I decided to put them together. That way we can have a segment that's long enough. But the first bit of news is in regards about how much Barcelona will receive from La Liga TV rights. Now, every season, there's about 1.5 billion euros in TV rights that gets distributed amongst La Liga teams. And of course, it is distributed based on your position on the table, with first place, of course, receiving the most. Last place receiving the least. It's pretty obvious. But as such, Real Madrid are supposed to get 143 million euros this season because they did finish first. They are the champions of La Liga. And Barcelona, having finished second, they are set to receive 130 million euros from La Liga for the TV rights. So that's, of course, great news for the club because it's much, much needed money that Barcelona will be receiving. Now, Girona, who are in third place, and I'm sure they're going to appreciate it a lot more than Barcelona do, but they are set to receive around 120 million euros, which, of course, is going to go a long, long way in helping Girona because their budget, their annual budget, their entire budget is 60 million, and they're set to receive 120 this season from La Liga TV rights. So they're set to receive double what their entire annual budget is, which is absolutely insane. But anyways, we're not here to talk about Girona. We're here to talk about Barcelona, who will be receiving 130 million euros from La Liga for finishing second. Now, the only grip I have with this whole TV rights is that I get it. It does make sense. It does make sense that, it's fair that the winner gets the most money and then the second gets less and less and less and less as you go down the table. However, Barcelona were the most watched team all throughout the season. Week after week, they were the most watched team all throughout the season. And to me, and that's just my humble opinion, if you are dividing TV rights, which is money generated based on how much people watch La Liga, wouldn't it make more sense to give the money to the team with the most views? Because that's how you generate your money, right? You generate TV rights money based on views. And if Barcelona are getting the most views, that means they're generating the most money. Wouldn't it make more sense that they would get the most money? I don't know. That's just my opinion. I do understand why, it is fair to give the winner the most TV rights money, but I don't know. In my opinion, I think it should be based on actual viewership, TV viewership. But what do I know? Let me know down in the chat section what your thoughts are. Any other good bit of news? I did promise you two good bits of news. The other good bit of news is Alexia Putellas, our queen bee, is set to renew her contract with Barcelona. Now, Putellas' contract was set to expire. There was delays in the negotiations because she wanted a little bit more money than what Barcelona could afford to pay her. There was kind of like a little stalemate right there where Both parties could not reach an agreement, but after months and months of negotiations, Alexia Putellas has decided to stay with Barcelona until 2026, so 2 more seasons until she turns 32 years old, which has always been her goal, to retire here at Barcelona. Now, this is amazing news because Alexia Putellas is, of course, our Barca Femini captain. She's an absolute trailblazer when it comes to women's football. She has undoubtedly the best female player in the entire world. She's our Lionel Messi, the female version of Lionel Messi, someone that has won Ballon d'Ors, European, the European best player, whatever. But she's someone that has won it all, both at the club and individual level, and even at the national level, because she did win the World Cup with Spain. So it's really good news that our captain, our Queen Bee, will be renewing with Barcelona for 2 more seasons. Anyways, that was the 2 good bits of news. 130 million euros from La Liga. Alexia Putellas renewing. Now let's start with the chat section, because then we have to move on to the depressing news, because that's how things work with Barcelona. We get 1 good news and then 20 bad ones, but that's okay. We keep on moving forward. We keep pushing, because there's always good times that follow bad ones. Anyways, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat section. Started with Klaus, my man Klaus, who never misses a live stream. He's always here. He's always watching. He's always commenting. Says hello. Thank you, Klaus, for joining, as you always do. You're an absolutely amazing subscriber and follower of the channel. And Robbie says, I live in Alaska. I live and die supporting Xavi and La Masia. That's pretty amazing. I visited Alaska a few years back. I thought it was one of the most beautiful places on earth. So if anyone has a chance of going to Alaska, please do. Don't go in the winter. It's super cold. There's only 3 hours of daylight and 21 hours of night. But in the summer, it's pretty beautiful. Very, very beautiful place. I personally don't live and die supporting Xavi or anyone. I live and die supporting Barcelona. I think I made this point before. To me, your unconditional support should only be towards the institution itself, which is FC Barcelona, not to the people in it, not to the presidents, not to the boards, not to the coaches, not to the players. Because when you do that, when you support the people within the club unconditionally, that's when you allow mediocrity to set in. You know, if you support a president, no matter what he does, whether he's doing a great job or a bad job, you're inviting bad presidents. Why? Because you're supporting them regardless. So if they do bad, who cares? There's no repercussions. You're still going to support them, right? The same comes with players. The same comes with coaches. So I strongly against supporting anyone in the club, no matter what they do. I think people within the club, presidents, coaches, players, should be supported based on their performance. If they perform great, amazing. I support you. Please keep going. If you start performing bad, you need to leave, and someone else who can perform great needs to take your place. So I don't believe in unconditional support of anyone in the club. The only unconditional support should be towards the club itself, the institution itself, FC Barcelona. Everyone else, whoever comes and goes, they need to be supported only when they do a great job. When they do a bad job, they need to get the hell out, because this is FC Barcelona. We only want the best. If you cannot give us the best, there's the door. Someone else who can will take your place. Anthony says, yo, Mo, what happened to the beard, bro? I shaved it. That's it. There's no more secret to it. Romain says, Mo, do you think that this is all a diversion so people don't stop to think about how bad of a season we just had as defending champions? If you're talking about the whole Xavi, you're fired, you're staying, you're not fired, you are fired, you're resigning, you're not resigning, I don't think so, because if anything, that only makes everything worse, right? We already had a bad season. We were humiliated in every competition you can think of. We were humiliated all throughout Europe and Spain. We've been playing awful, horrendous football. And to add to all that, the fact that, Xavi's resigning, but we want to convince him to stay. Okay, we don't want him to stay anymore. Okay, he wants to stay. Okay, he convinced us to stay, but now we want to fire him, but we don't want to tell him that we're firing him. We're only going to leak it to the media. That only makes things worse. I don't think it's a distraction. If anything, just, expands it more, because now not only did we have a horrible season, now we're also having a horrible mismanagement of the club. So I don't think it's a distraction. I think it only makes things worse. This is why I said it's an absolute mistake to let Xavi stay, not only because he's a terrible manager who cannot build a project from the ground up, but because I knew this was going to happen. I knew Joan Laporta will eventually get tired of Xavi. Why wouldn't he? Xavi's playing horrible football with the team. He keeps giving us horrible press conferences where he's constantly giving us excuses or constantly telling us we were better than the opposing team or we deserved more even though we didn't. So, of course, Laporta was eventually going to get tired of that. So why not just allow him to leave? Why make him stay just to turn around and fire him? That did not make any sense to me. I knew Laporta was going to end up firing Xavi. So why look like a dumbass when you could have just let him go versus allowing him to stay just to turn around and fire him? But anyways, speaking of, this is a great segue because we do have to talk about this whole fiasco with Laporta and Xavi because Joan Laporta has decided to delay his decision of sacking Xavi Hernandez. Now, sources within the club are reporting that Laporta has not changed his mind. Laporta's mind is made up 100% that he wants to sack Xavi Hernandez. He's tired of him, and he wants to get rid of him, and he thinks that the only way out is by changing coaches for several reasons. Of course, there's the reason that Laporta feels betrayed because of Xavi's statements where Xavi, told him in person, hey, we have a great squad. Thank you for the signings. I'm going to turn things around and do the best with the squad. The squad is capable of a lot more. And then he turned around, went to the press conference, and Xavi said, well, we can't really succeed because we don't have money and we can't make signings and we can't compete with anyone. There's also the fact of how Xavi handled the whole Vitor Roque situation, where it was Xavi who requested from the club to bring Vitor Roque earlier because Lewandowski was not performing, and then he turned around, did not use Roque, and then went out on press conference and talked about how Roque is not ready. Then, of course, there's the fact that since Laporta decided to keep Xavi, we lost to Girona horribly, 4 goals, and we had some pretty horrendous performances, even against teams that we beat, like Almeria or Rayo Vallecano over this weekend. And then finally, the last bit of news on why Laporta feels kind of betrayed, which is something new that has come out, is that during, I think it was the Almeria match, there was chants in the stadium, yes to Barca, no to Laporta. And Xavi in the post-match press conference said, well, the crowd is, they're sovereigns. They can say whatever they want. They're free to say whatever they want. And Laporta also didn't like that because, he supported Xavi. He always defended Xavi. He always said, Xavi's the great coach. He's the answer. We need to stick with him. And then Xavi couldn't do the same for him. He couldn't say, hey, I don't appreciate the fans saying this, or we should support Laporta because he's doing a great job, or something along that lines. Instead, he said, yeah, the crowd is free to say whatever they want. And it seems that Laporta didn't like that. Now, all these combined have made Joan Laporta decide to sack Xavi. His mind is 100% made up. However, no one within the club is willing to bet 100% that that's what's going to happen, that Xavi will be sacked 100%. Why? Because of the club's finances. Because if Barcelona sack Xavi, they have to pay him and his staff an indemnification. They have to pay him the last year of their contract. Of course, some people are saying that Xavi would forgive his last year of contract, but not his staff. Either way, Barcelona would have to pay money that the club don't have, because apparently the club are lacking liquidity, which I talked about in the video earlier today in the morning. I said Barcelona are currently negotiating a €100 million loan because they lack liquidity. So given that Barcelona have very little money, having to pay Xavi his last year of contract, or his staff their last year of contract, that of course gets in the way of things. So Laporta has decided to delay his decision. Now, again, his mind is made up. He wants to sack Xavi. Now, whether he can or not, that's a different question, because it will all depend on what Barcelona will be able to do. If Barcelona can close the Nike deal and get that €100 million signing bonus, Barcelona can get a new investor to buy Barca Vision shares that were sold to Libero, then most likely Barcelona will move forward and sack Xavi because they'll have the money, they have the cash, they'll be able to pay him. If not, then we could see Xavi stay for another season. So Laporta has delayed his decision. The excuse they have given is that the women's team, the Barcelona Femení, are set to play the Champions League final. So the excuse is that they don't want to say anything because, they want to stay focused on the ladies. They don't want the media being distracted. They don't want anyone being distracted. They want all the focus on our ladies who have a chance of winning another treble, by the way. Absolutely amazing. But that's the news. Oh, one more thing. I know I reported earlier in the morning that Laporta was set to go on an interview tomorrow, a TV interview where they were going to discuss the upcoming documentary about Barcelona signing Johan Cruyff. There was going to be a lot of reporters. It's going to be a huge event. Laporta was going to be there. So it's kind of like all eyes on Laporta to see what he was going to say, whether he was going to confirm the rumors that he wants to sack Xavi, deny them, or just ignore them. But now, in the last moments, Laporta has decided to cancel his appearance. Now, they're saying he's sick. He even had to leave the stadium early. Or when the Rayo Vallecano match, he had to leave immediately because apparently he's having a flu or something. He's had fever. He's had to visit the doctor. He's not feeling well. So that's why he canceled the interview. It could also be just an excuse so he doesn't have to talk about the Xavi situation. But for now, they're saying that Laporta has had to visit the doctor. So maybe it's not a lie. Maybe it's real. Anyways, that's it as far as Laporta and his decision. Then we're going to talk about how the board of directors are split 3 ways on who should be the next manager. Okay, let's see. Junior says, I told you that the fans were going to respond towards the disrespect and unprofessionalism towards Xavi by Laporta. If Laporta doesn't fix everything going on in the media, it could be bad for him. I don't think it's disrespect. I think Laporta is free to fire Xavi. He's the president after all. He's the boss. I just don't like the fact that Laporta hasn't talked to Xavi. I don't like that. I think if you're going to fire someone, you should fire them and then let the media know versus let the media know first and then fire the person. A person who's getting fired should not find out from the media they're getting fired. So I think in that way it was definitely mishandled. But firing someone is not really disrespect. You're not doing your job. You're getting fired. You're not getting disrespected. You should have done a better job. Trick Shot Coulee says, oh, now it's just Trick Shot, no Coulee. All right. Is it really too much to ask for everybody to smash the like button every time? Not even a third of the viewers like the videos. Mo isn't a servant. Show some love. Thank you, my friend. And yes, please hit the like button. That like button is the best way you can support the channel. When you hit the like button, the YouTube algorithm automatically starts recommending the video. Well, the more likes, the more the YouTube algorithm recommends the video to people who've never seen the channel. So just hit the like button. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. It takes a split second. Just go click. That's it. All right, let's see what else. Aqua says, Mo, can the money from La Liga be used to fill our wage bill to sign players, or is it just audio money? That money is part of the budget. Like Barcelona have already budgeted for that. So even with that money, we still have a big deficit from the fact that Libero did not pay their share when they bought the Barca vision. McCoy says, I'm scared for my beautiful club, even though Xavi needs to. I don't like the circus that's going on. Get this over with already. I 100% agree with you. Again, I'm okay with the club sacking Xavi. I still think it's stupid. They should have just let him go to begin with instead of letting him stay and then turn around and fire him. I think it's stupid. But what's even worse is this whole thing. Let's leak it to the media, but not tell Xavi. But let's do a meeting with him. No, let's cancel the meeting. Let's talk to the press. No, let's cancel the press. And meanwhile, the press is just left speculating left and right. Because, of course, that's what they're going to do. If you just leak that you want to sack him, they're going to be speculating versus saying, hey, this is what's happening. There's no room for speculation. And Xavi's also left to the wolves. He has to go on press conferences and being asked by a million reporters, hey, are you getting sacked? Are you getting sacked? What's going to happen with your future? And he's like, I don't know, because nobody has told me anything. So horribly handling of the whole situation. And I just don't know at this point. It's like, it's awful what's going on. Alex says, hello, Mo. I live in North Dakota. I love listening to you. How was work today? Thank you, my friend. Thank you for listening. Work was very busy. That's the life. What can we do? We got to pay the bills. We got to keep the electricity on. So, On Fire says, how many chances for Hansi Flick if Xavi gets sacked? That's a good question because let's talk about coaches. That is the next segment. Because it's reported that the board of directors are currently divided 3 ways on who should be Barcelona's next manager. Now, first up is Joan Laporta's options, or Joan Laporta's choices, I should say. And he has 2 of them. The first choice of Joan Laporta, of course, Hansi Flick. I didn't think I needed to say that. You probably already guessed it before I even said it. Hansi Flick, because Joan Laporta likes what? The German school of thought. I think I've said that a million times on this channel. But Joan Laporta is still a big believer in the German school of thought. He thinks it's the best way to move forward. And as such, Hansi Flick remains one of his favorite options to replace Xavi Hernandez. Hansi Flick, who has waited for Barcelona for a very long time. He has ruled out going back to Bayern. Bayern kind of wanted to hire him back. And even though he has a lot of offers in the Premier League, including Chelsea, he has not accepted any offers. So he remains a free agent. And given that he is, from the German school of thought, Joan Laporta still considers him as a good option, especially given his accomplishments. He won a sextuple with Bayern. He also plays the kind of football that Joan Laporta likes, that fast transitions, high press, high intensity football. So as such, Joan Laporta considers Hansi Flick as one of his two options. And the other two options, given that Laporta again really likes the German school of thought, is of course Thomas Tuchel, who will be a free agent this summer. Bayern Munich have decided to keep him. There's been a huge push by the fans to keep Thomas Tuchel at Bayern. But despite that, Thomas Tuchel have said, nope, I'm still leaving. Xavi, take note of that, my friend. Of course, Thomas Tuchel did not quit, but Xavi, you decided to quit, then decided to stay. Take note. If you say you're leaving, stick to your word and leave. Of course, Thomas Tuchel it was more like they pushed him out, but now he's sticking to it. And he's like, no, I'm not going to stay. You pushed me out. Fuck you. Anyways, Thomas Tuchel is the other option. Of course, he's different. In some ways, he's similar to Flick when it comes to tactics, but in the other ways, he's very different. Flick is more of a coach that kind of adapts to the teams he plays in versus Flick, who has his clear philosophy and tries to implement his philosophy at the clubs he goes to. Now, these are the two options that Joan Laporta is considering because, again, Joan Laporta likes what? He likes the German school of thought. I feel like Dora the Explorer. Now, I said the board is split three ways. That's the first way. Laporta wanting Flick or Tuchel because he likes the German school of thought. The second way the board is split is Rafa Yuste, who still wants Xavi Hernandez to continue. Rafa Yuste has been a big supporter of Xavi from day one. He believes that Barcelona should bet on Xavi. He believes that Xavi is the answer. Of course, he made several statements in public when Xavi announced his resignation, talking about, he wants Xavi to stay. He wants the club to convince Xavi to stay. And when Xavi met with Laporta, Yuste was one of the people who, kind of egged Laporta to keep him. He's like, yeah, let him stay. He's obviously the answer. Now it's reported that Yuste is not as persistent on Xavi staying because he's seen how mad Laporta has gotten with, Xavi's antics and tactics, etc. But if you ask him who you want to be the next manager, he's going to say Xavi. He's not pushing for it as much as before, but he still believes that Xavi should be the next coach. Now, that's 2 out of 3, right? Laporta with the German school of thought, Yuste who wants Xavi. Now we come to the third split, which is Deco, because Deco has different choices that he would like consider. It's starting with Thiago Motta. Thiago Motta, who's an up-and-coming coach. He's done a great job with Bologna, make him qualify to European competitions for the first time in their history. As such, he's being considered by several clubs, including Juventus, who are reportedly in advanced talks to sign him. There are clubs in the Premier League who want to sign him. Of course, Thiago Motta was someone who was considered when Xavi first resigned, and it seems that Deco would like Barcelona to bet on him. Now, Deco obviously realizes that this would be kind of a risky bet because Thiago Motta lacks the experience, but nonetheless, Deco is willing to bet that Thiago Motta is the answer, because he believes that Motta is going to be one of those revolutionary coaches that kind of, change the way football is played. And as such, he is willing to bet on him. The second option that Deco likes is that of Rafa Marquez, which would be more of a safer bet than Motta. Motta would be more of a risky bet to Deco. Rafa Marquez would be more of a safer bet because Marquez, of course, he knows the club. He was the player. Now he's the coach of Barca Athletic, and Deco believes that Marquez is kind of like following the correct route of coming to Barca Athletic, learning, and now, being able to get him promoted to the first team. So that's how the board of directors is split. Laporta wanting Flick or Tuchel, the German school of thought. Juste wanting Xavi to continue. And then we have Deco, who likes Mota or Rafa Marquez. Of course, as always, I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Let me know, out of all these options, who would you go with? Flick, Tuchel, Mota, Rafa Marquez, continue with Xavi. Let me know down below in the chat section, or if you're watching this when it ends, in the comment section, please. All right, let's see. Robbie says, Jesus Christ could manage Barca. We're still losing to Madrid this summer. Not necessarily. I think if we get a proper coach, I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, they're signing Mbappe and blah, blah, blah. Look, we've been down this road a million times. We've played against Madrid, who had signed half of the world to their squad. I'm not scared. As long as we can play good football, we are capable of beating Madrid. All right, Forrest FF says, I think Laporta doesn't have the balls to sack Xavi because he suddenly became ill. Again, it's not about the balls. Laporta is convinced that he wants to sack Xavi. However, the problem is the club's finances. So depending on how Barcelona can navigate their finances this upcoming few weeks, whether they can close the Nike deal, whether they can find a new investor for Barca Vision, etc., that will determine whether Laporta goes through it with or not. Because again, if Barcelona sack Xavi, they would have to pay him money, or at least his staff. And this is, again, another reason why I said it was a mistake to keep Xavi, because I knew Laporta was going to want to fire him down the road. And guess what? When you fire him, now you owe him money. If he resigns, you don't owe him anything. So what the fuck was Laporta thinking? I don't know, but here we are. This is what our reality is. And Trickshot says that all this Barcelona drama has made me more than ready for the Euros. I'm ready for the Euros too, but I'm more ready for Copa America. I'm biased. I'm sorry. Actually, today I found out that I'm going to a Copa America match. I'm going to the Argentina versus Chile match, which is here in New York. Well, technically in New Jersey, MetLife Stadium, which is where the New York Giants and New York Jets play, which will also be the stadium that will host the World Cup final in 2026. I'm going there. I'm very, very excited. I'll probably take my camera with me and do kind of like a vlog, go into the stadium, do some shot footage. Maybe I'll do some interviews. I don't know. Sounds like a good idea. I wanted to do that when I went to Barcelona a few weeks ago and watched the Valencia match. But unfortunately, on the day of the match, it was raining cats and dogs. I mean, it was pouring. So I wasn't able to take my camera with me. Otherwise, it would have gotten ruined by the rain. But I did do a visit to the museum with my camera, which I will be uploading the video pretty soon. I just need to get it edited. But that video is coming up soon. So stay tuned. And my man Ross says, hi, Mo. What do you think about Pep saying he may leave City? I don't think Pep is coming back. So I didn't hear that he said he's leaving City because, I don't follow the Premier League or Manchester City. But if he is, I just don't see him coming to Barca. I don't see Pep coming back to Barca as a coach ever, like forever, ever. If he does come back to Barca, I see him coming back in some kind of, position within the club, but not as coach. So I don't know. Even if he says he's leaving, I just don't see him coming here. SA says, I would have sacrificed Marquez now. I believe De Zerbi for now. We need great tactician. I agree with you about Rafa. I think Rafa's learning. He's improving. He's on his way. Let's not curtail that by upgrading him to the first team, because I feel like he's going to get burned. And we might end up, cutting a promising career short, right? Who knows? Maybe if you give him more time, he does end up being a great coach. Maybe not. But why try to pluck him too early? It's like when you pluck a flower before it's fully bloomed, the flower dies. I'll let him bloom. Hassan says Flick needs signings. Mota or De Zerbi would be better. They fit Barca style, can work in low budget. If Mota, De Zerbi don't work, then go Pep Klopp in 2025. Flick has said he's okay working with whatever players he has and with the academy. But anyways. And Hart, my man Hart, check your email, my friend. I emailed you today about a project. So check your email. But he says, hi, Mo, sup? What do you think of Mota being Barca coach? I think it'd be a little bit too early. I think Mota's showing a lot of promise. I think he has, showing promise to be a great coach, but it might be a little too early. I think maybe give him a little bit more time, then see. But at the same time, of course, when you give a coach more time and he does end up exploding, then you risk the fact that he's going to cost you an arm and a leg down the road. Anyways, we have a donation with Anthony says, would De Zerbi be best option? Love his tactic. I'm a big fan of De Zerbi's tactics. He's one of the very few coaches. They are kind of, I guess, revolutionary in a way where they have come up with their own philosophy and their own style. And they are very passionate about that style, and they constantly work on improving and building upon that style. And wherever they go, they try to implement that philosophy and that style. So I like De Zerbi. Now, is he capable of running a big club? Of course, that's another question. But I do like De Zerbi. All right, let's see. We do have another donation. My friend Trick Shop, thank you for your donation. But says donation number 2 for software upgrade. We will get you there. Thank you, my friend. Yes, we will get there. And then Monster says the sound is off. Is the sound off? Can everyone confirm? I know last time it really was off. I went back and heard it, and there was like this sound buzzing, this loud buzzing. And turns out it's because my mic was connected to my computer, so it was creating this buzz. But I had to connect it now directly into the electricity plug, and I think it's much better now. But if there is some sound, let me know. But anyways, and Klaus says we get the right manager and everything changes for the better. Amen, my friend. Amen. We cannot keep playing the same we've been playing these last 2 seasons. We've seen what a mess it is. All right, everybody says sound is fine. Cool. Good to know. And let's do one more comment and then we will end because I don't have any more news for you. I'm sorry, guys. Julia says, Mo, when sporting director and the manager are not on the same page, the club suffers. All of them want to show that they know more. I mean, it definitely helps when everybody's on the same page. But I kind of had a sense or a feeling that this would happen because when Laporta offered Xavi the job, one of Xavi's conditions was total control over the signings, and he even wanted control over Barca Athletic, who comes up and comes down. And that was a big contention between Xavi and Laporta, a big point of contention. I think that right there was a red flag, but of course at the time, just like everyone else, I was very excited about Xavi coming, so I just ignored it. I was like, whatever. Obviously, Xavi knows what he's doing. He's the greatest midfielder ever. He knows the club inside out. He came up through La Masia. He was a player his whole career here. He obviously knows what he's doing. Whatever. If he wants control, give him control. I don't care. I just want Xavi to come. So I think that was kind of a foreshadow of what was going to happen. Because if a coach is already asking you control of everything and he hasn't even started, that's a problem. Because coaches cannot have control over everything. That's what sporting directors are for. I think clubs should have say on who gets signed or not. Coaches should be allowed to make requests. Hey, I would like this guy. But the final say should always be with the club because the club is the one who gets stuck with these players. If a coach comes and he's like, I want this player, and the club signs him for 5 years and the coach is gone in 1, now the club is stuck with this player for 4 years. So this is why clubs should have the final say always on who gets signed and who gets not. Coaches should only be able to suggest, hey, I would like this guy, and the club should be like, okay, we'll take it into consideration. We agree with you. We'll sign him, or you know what? We're not signing him. F off, right? Plus, the club is the one that pays the salary of these players. So I think clubs should always be the ones who make the final decision. And the fact that Xavi was already asking for full control before he had even started, when he was still in Qatar, I think that was definitely a problem back then. And it seems like it really was a problem because, he is completely on a different page than Deco, and they're constantly butting heads, and that's not good. All right, maybe we'll do one more comment. I don't know. I enjoy talking to you guys. So Do Not Touch says, I feel like Barca YouTubers are finally waking up and calling out the bullshit. I don't know, because like I've said before, I don't really watch other YouTubers, not because I have anything against them. It's just a matter of, time. I work full time. I do this channel. I, have my dog, have errands, etc. So my time is very, very limited. I don't, and whatever little free time I have, I try to spend it, researching and come up with more news. So I don't really watch other ones, but if people are finally starting to notice that Xavi is not it, I'm glad. Can't believe it took him that long. But hey, welcome. And Monster Lou says, you play FIFA? I don't actually. I used to play it a lot. Now I just cannot do it. I don't like it. I don't know why. I love football. I've played football all my life. I love watching football. I love talking about football. I love going to football matches. But for some reason, I just don't enjoy playing FIFA. But to be fair, I don't enjoy playing any sports video games anymore. The only video games I like to play are first-person shooters, but not FIFA, which is weird because, again, I love football. But it is what it is. And Sapphire says, Mo, would you consider PayPal donations? Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Maybe I should create a PayPal and get that, the new software. But anyways, Marcus says, Mo, I think you meant to say FIFA, but I suck. I probably would suck too, because like I said, I haven't played FIFA in so long. So I'm pretty sure I would be absolute trash. I think the last FIFA I played, and I'm not even exaggerating, I think it was FIFA 2004? 2005? It was a really long time ago. Oh, we have one more donation, but Sanjog says, Saki Xavi will mean Barca has to pay 20 million euros, plus Guardiola and Enrique will be free in 2025 by the time Xavi contract gets over. Thoughts? It's actually more like close to 12 million. And if Xavi decides to forgive his final year, it would actually be less. But what the club need to take into consideration is that if you keep Xavi for another year, sure, you would save that money that you have to pay him in indemnification. However, you have to think about what it will cost the club to keep Xavi versus how much it will cost him to sack him. Because remember, keeping Xavi would be expensive because if the team's performance keeps dipping, that's less viewers. Less viewers means less money. It also means less people going to the stadium, which also means less money. It also means less people buying merchandise, which also means less money. It also means not qualifying to competitions, which also means less money. So if the team keeps doing bad, Barcelona will be set to lose a lot of money. So Barcelona need to sit down and do the math and see how much it would cost to sack Xavi versus how much it would cost to keep him, because there is a big cost to keeping him. I mean, we already saw it this season. We're going to miss qualification to the Club World Cup. That's 50 million euros that Barcelona will miss out on. We almost missed out on the Spanish Super Cup. That's 6 million euros, right? And again, these are just competitions. We're not talking about merchandising, TV rights, sponsors. Sponsors want to see the team perform. And if the team is not performing, sponsors could be like, you know what, I'm out. What am I sponsoring? So, anyways, that is it, my friends. You guys are amazing. Thank you for tuning in, for your donations, your comments, subscriptions. I will create a PayPal for the channel. Thank you for suggesting that. And that's it. I uploaded 2 videos in the morning. Make sure to check them out. I will see you in tomorrow's videos. There's no podcast tomorrow. That makes me sad. But anyways, thank you guys for being amazing. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, no matter how bad our team performs, no matter how bad the club is being managed, no matter how bad the financial crisis, it doesn't matter because Visca Barça.